Hey everyone, it's Millie.
It's Gabby.
And welcome back to another week of Change by Degrees. Are you ready to go? You don't seem ready to go.
I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be. So we might as well just,
jump right into it. We had a really good brunch.
I like how that's how you're like, okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
It was really good.
Oh, good.
It's one of my favorite places.
I didn't, okay. So now it's, okay. That's good to know.
What's good to know?
Well, I didn't know that was like one of your favorites now. I just thought.
It's really good.
Okay, yeah. Good. I didn't know that was one of your favorites, but now you consider it one of your favorites.
It's not considered. It's just like one of the better brunch places around here, right?
Yeah, and they serve breakfast.
Family Restaurant.
Yeah, Montclair Family Restaurant. They serve brunch and breakfast, I don't know, all day, but very, very long time.
A long time of the day. And they also have, remember when we drove, we were working, but we drove like half an hour to go get Greek gyros or the pitas. I don't remember what it was. But it was really good too.
Yes.
I just am really dead because we spent more time in the car.
We spent a lot of time in the car getting. We could have just ordered delivery, I guess.
But we were like, no, we'll pick it up.
We were like, no, we don't want to be here.
We'll pick it up. But same place, and it was really, really good. And I had Nutella French toast, and I feel really good about continuing to add on to my winter weight.
I love that, even though it's like 60 degrees today.
I was gonna say,
which is,
you opened last week's episode with how pissed you were because of how cold it was, or maybe it was the first one. One of the ones.
Okay, well, yes, but
now it's like 60 degrees. Although it's going to get colder, so
I woke up I went to bed in the best mood last night because I didn't have to turn on my electric blanket for the first time in like 3 months, and then this morning I woke up and I was not cold and it was warm, and I was like, holy crap, this is kind of amazing.
It's really nasty out though.
No, but I will
drain my energy.
Will take the rain over any other type of weather that falls from the sky. Sleet, snow, that's it, I guess. Well, I'll take
what else falls from the sky,
fire in the end times, but I will literally take, like, especially when spring is coming. I know it's only February, I know that,
but
I can't help but think that in a month, like, listen, the sun is going down.
I was gonna say, you have longer days,
like a minute, or maybe it's like 30 seconds or something like that every day, something like that. I don't know, maybe less, but
it was really foggy.
It was very foggy. It wasn't that bad last night, actually.
I'm so glad that you almost didn't die, but I was driving back from teaching my last lesson, and I was like, I might not make it home.
I love the rainy, like, oncoming spring weather. It makes me like so more energetic. Every year I like pray to God. I'm like, God, get me through January. If I can get through January, I know I will be okay. January is a struggle for me every year.
Yes.
Especially this year, we had not so much, but we had snow, like the fourth day in, and then
we did
ice, and it. Anyway, so I'm very.
It was rough. Pleased. It was rough for you, but now we've gotten past that. Yeah. And now, like I said, I like the rain if I can stay home and do nothing, but that's not the case today because like Gabby planned out this whole day.
Okay, I planned out this whole day for her birthday next week.
So it's just like
you don't have that much to do though. I'm like literally driving us everywhere. We're only going to like one place and wherever else you want to go after that. But like, I
got things to do, so it's just like
you can come back here and sleep or go home and sleep after we've like done our thing. I like how you think. Here's the thing. I also like having nothing to do on days like this because you know what I would have been doing right now?
What would you have been doing?
I would have been reading. I probably would have finished like 4 books already.
Which we already talked about. That's maybe not the best coping mechanism.
What? Cooking?
Coping.
Oh, it's a cooking mechanism. I was like, I try not to read when I have things in the stove.
No, coping mechanism.
I love it. I love reading so much. Sometimes I'll like look at my books or like pick up a book and be like, God, I love reading.
And you're almost out of room. But it's okay. I support your reading. And when I'm not bothering you anymore, you can read. It's like we finished eating and I instantly said, okay, time to go night. And Gabby said, no, we have things to do. So we're going to do this. We're going to go eat more. I like how our days kind of revolve around that, but that's okay. I do have things to do this weekend. I have planning to do. We're such good people.
I think it's all good. I have a really great segue into what we're actually talking about today.
Oh, okay. Can I say the title?
Yes.
We're talking about episode 91. The Fallacy of Your 20s. Segue.
Amazing segue. Damn. So just like we have fun doing things in our 20s, like spending a day doing whatever we want and eating and stuff, you know, I think that's not a fallacy in your 20s that you can have fun. That's my segue. I was trying to make it connect.
You cannot be depressed in your 20s.
Okay, also, like, Millie's birthday is on Tuesday, February 8th. So
old lady.
Yeah. So
So
and
you
you're in
can
your
have
20s.
birthdays in your
You can
so that's
have
not a
birthdays in your
fallacy.
20s.
You can eat. Like the book that you're reading, you can crap your pants.
I'm screaming. Yes. This guy, anyway, I'm not going to get into that, but this guy, like, the main character, like, is like pooping his pants right now. It's a long story. It's a Stephen King book. Anyway,
dude, wow. You can do that. You can well, what we were talking about yesterday, which I think is going to be what we mainly talk about in this episode. So you can have a life and you can be alive and be in your 20s at the same time, and that's honestly a mind-numbing, breaking thought to think about.
that you cannot have a horrible time in your 20s.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would say that is
But do I think that all the time?
no.
To be true, that's also not the case. So there's a balance to be said, you know. Wow. Your segue was fantastic.
Thank you.
Now we're going to go through all the bad things that can happen in your 20s.
No, not even bad things that can happen. We didn't really prepare for this episode, can you tell?
No.
But you didn't.
I did.
No,
I thought about it. Well, our conversation yesterday is what we're going to talk about right now.
So you just used our conversation.
Yeah. It's bound to happen. It's natural.
That's true.
Organic, dude.
Okay, so what's the first fallacy that you're told that happens in your 20s or something?
I don't know.
Okay,
No. I was going to say something.
Okay.
I was just opening with I don't know because I just think as a 20-year-old,
yes.
I don't know.
That's not a valid answer.
But we, of course, I think one of the first episodes we mentioned this, but just because you go to university, number one, you don't have to go to university. Two, if you do go to university, this doesn't mean you're going to graduate and get a job. And number three, if you do get a job, that doesn't mean you've made it.
Ooh.
It's quite the opposite.
Don't kill him like that. What do you mean quite the opposite? Okay, let's dig into this. Let's unpack this. Let's unpack this right now.
Yeah, I just think those are three very important things to kind of like set into your brain, because you wouldn't have gone through the journey that I think at least I did through college and early out of college, and what maybe Gabby's going through right now.
I like how I get dragged in every episode. I like how this is like a common occurrence now.
And that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. I feel like when people think about 20s as portrayed either in like media or maybe what you are perceived to see in other people or 20-year-olds, it's either that like you have your life together, which is like the 0.1%, or I think all the other percentages that are happening is like that you're in the club every night.
I'm so dead.
Barely making it to your 9 a.m. meeting.
Deceased.
At least that's what I think.
Well, I feel like I'm trying to think of what I thought of 20-year-olds or 20-something people when I was like in high school or younger. I definitely know, like, obviously when you're a kid, you think that like everybody older than you has it like together. Like you think 20-year-olds are like adults, like they're doing the adult thing, and then you become 20 and you're like, what the heck?
That's not the case.
It's not the case. But
for example, you have an Xbox One right now.
I do. That's not mine. It's my brother's, but he said I could have it. And it's yeah, so okay, good. Yes. I haven't opened it yet, but like I do have an Xbox sitting in my apartment that I will
play Xbox.
I will definitely break that open when I have a lot of work to do and probably procrastinate a little bit. But yes, that's one thing. I just think it's one of those things where like people expect to, I don't know if this comes from, it probably comes a lot from social media, but like people expect that you have your life together by the time you're like 24, 25, and then it's all, I don't want to say smooth sailing from there, because I don't think people think that, but everything will fall in line the way it's supposed to. And like I'm 25 and I'm like still figuring out my life as if I'm like 18. Like I remember this feeling at 18 just in a different capacity because I was going to college and stuff. But now being, I don't know, at 18 I expected to have it kind of together. Well, I never even thought that I would, not that I thought I was like not going to make it to 25, but I couldn't even imagine myself being 25 when I was 18. I was like, I can't even like fathom that. And now that I'm 25, I'm like, man, I was 18 at one point. Like that's so wild. Like 18, like I was a baby.
Baby.
That's so weird to be like, I was 18 and I was like a freshman in college. And I was like, man, I like went to college 2.5 hours away. Like at 18, like what the heck? But I do think it's one of those things that it's like you expect to have your life together by this age, and then you get this age and you're like, I don't. And then you look on social media and some people have it together. I won't even say together. People just live different lives. Like I think my version of having it together is completely different from somebody else's. Like some people I know are married and have a baby. Some people I know have a full-time job. Some people I know this one girl, I don't know her that well, but she literally bought like a van and like refurbished the inside and like travels the country and like and is like an influencer person, and like couldn't be me, but so that's what she's doing. Like it's just so strange, like different lives that people lead, and that's why I think your 20s are hard, is because like everybody's just on a completely different path. But
right, like there's no reference point.
No,
I think when you're in school, they tell you this is the journey you're gonna take, and you don't have conversations about what do different lifestyles and lives look like, and you just think, okay, well, it's college. And I mean, that was the case for both of us, and then obviously it's like fallen off any pathway post college, and that's okay. But it's true, you have no reference point. So we were even talking about this because we had brunch with our boss. Or is it, it's not your boss anymore.
It's not my boss.
Not your boss.
Not my boss anymore.
My boss. And just about how people are on different timelines, and I mean, he has tons of friends that are doing all sorts of stuff too, and they're much further in life than we are. But I think it's important to surround yourself with friends of different lifestyles, and then some friends who are in at least a close enough stage in life to you. Because I mean, you had mentioned it, that you have friends that like now are moms, and they have like mom problems and have to do mom things, and that consumes a lot of their time, and then you're here like doing it on your own. And like you can still be friends with certain people, but because that also offers you a different perspective. But it's definitely not the case where I think for 12 years you're just brought up thinking there's only one way to go about something.
Well, I think it's kind of because people think that is because, at least I did, not that things are decided for you, but it's just like hammered into you so much, like from a young age. Obviously, like you're in school for 12 years. So like you start obviously like preschool, kindergarten, and then you go through elementary school because you have to. You go through middle school because you have to. Then you get to high school and you start thinking about the future and stuff like that, like 10th, 11th grade. And it's either like college, the workforce, the military, like one of those three usually is what people are looking at. And it's not decided for you, but those three options are like given to you. Pick one. And then you know, whatever you do at age 18, like for instance, we went to college and then graduating when you're 21, 22, and then it just kind of drops off. And you're like, well, I've been told what to do for the past 22 years of my life, or not told what to do, but given options by other people who are older than me and know better. And then all of a sudden you're just like thrust into like the world, and they're like, okay, now go do things. And you're like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, what are my options? And it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, oh, I have to decide this for myself in a more like unlimited capacity than I did before. Like you were making decisions before, but it was kind of like limited decisions. Whereas now it's like, you're like an adult, like you have to make the decisions for yourself and like also own up to those decisions. Like, so I just think it's like kind of like you're on a path and then all of a sudden the road just kind of drops off and you're like, now what do I do? Yeah. So unless you have like someone to be like, well, maybe you should try this job or this one, it's just kind of like start applying for jobs, I guess. I don't know. So I think that is also another thing that's why also people have like tons of different lives in their 20s.
Because you're really trying to figure it out.
Yeah, you're trying to figure it out. Like not all my friends, pretty much all my friends went to college, but we're all on completely different paths now. So it just kind of goes to like, even if you have similar experiences, go to a similar type of university or whatever, you still end up on like different paths for whatever reason. Not that one's better than the other, because it's not. It's just different, and it probably is based off personality and stuff like that too. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. So I just think the other thing that annoys me too, as I get older, not that I'm old, but as I get older, is that like when people like, I look back on adults who told me like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know, when I was 18 or like going into college, like these are the best years of your life.
That was,
and I was like, yeah, I enjoyed college. Like I did. And I liked being away for 4 years, and I liked the friends I made and the professors I had and the classes I took. Like I loved all of that, but they weren't the best years of my life. Like as I get older, I look back and I'm like, no, but I really enjoyed that year. I really enjoyed this year. Like I feel like every year, I don't want to say every year gets better because you'll have bad years and good years, but also like, I don't know. I'm just like, well, that wasn't the best year of my life, because even though I was really enjoying my classes, I was living in a dorm with 4 other people. Now I live by myself and I have a flexible schedule and I'm doing what I love. Like I would call this better. Like, you know, so it's really frustrating too that I think that's going to like another fallacy is that like college or like your early 20s is the best. And I'm like, no, because I can see myself being like 30 and being like, no, this is the best year. Like I love this.
Like I figured out adulting. I know what I want to do finally. And you did that all by yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's true. I've seen even recently, not that I'm on Instagram too much, but quite a few kids come back after their, first semester and going into their second semester, and they're talking about how crappy their first, like, it wasn't all that it shaped up to be or how they expected. It was harder than they thought. And I'm like, that's also a really real conversation to have. And that's why I think it's important that even though for 12 years, all you do is like academics. And I'm like, life is so much more than like a grade you get at the end of the semester. You need to know how to be like a functioning, emotionally intelligent person.
Yeah.
And you're going to deal with a lot of real things, whether it's in college or if you choose not to go to college. And it's just, school just doesn't set you up very well, whether it's like for emotional intelligence, financial literacy, although Gary doesn't like finances.
I hate finances.
He hates finances, numbers,
I'm
math,
not bad with finances. I just don't enjoy them.
or doing like bills and paperwork or taxes. Oh my God, taxes is coming up. I just like depress myself. Taxes, things like that are like so much more part of being an adult. I'm just as much, I would say so much more than it is like, okay, I learned this thing in school and I can do the job. I'm like, that's not going to fulfill you. Maybe for some people it really does. And
some people are like literal workaholics and they don't need, this isn't a dig, it's just they don't need like the free time and they just want to like work. And I'm like, that's just not how I'm built. Like I can find some sort of satisfaction from a job, but I have so many other things that I like. I'm in dance classes. Like I like writing in my free time. I obviously like reading. I like watching TV and movies. Like I'm about to bring back there's nothing I want to see in theaters right now, but like my movie Mondays where I go to the theater by myself and I sit and I watch a movie. And it's like the best. Like I love it. I love starting my week like that. Just me, myself, and I watching a movie at 11 a.m. on a Monday. Like I think that's great. Like things like that I want to be able to do. And I think like I couldn't have done that when I was in my early 20s in college. There's no way. I had too much to do. But now that I'm like older and I can make my own decisions in a way that I'm like, I have my, apartment, I have a car, I have things that allow me to do things without having to, this sounds really bad, without having to think about like other people. That sounds bad. I don't mean it that way, but like without having to be like, well, my roommate is like adjusting my schedule. And just, and then when I want to see people, I see them. And when I don't, I don't. Like, as opposed to being in college where it's like you're surrounded by people pretty much all the time. And I don't know. It's just like as a 25-year-old, almost 26, like I feel I'm almost in my late 20s. That just like hit me right now. Wow, what a time to be alive. Because I'm at the midpoint, I suppose. I feel like better than I feel like in the past. In a lot of ways. Like I feel like more confident. I feel like I'm not an adult yet, but like I am, but I'm not. But like I can still make decisions that are selfish, which is nice that maybe I couldn't do when I was in college because I was trying to get my education and graduate and stuff. But now I'm a little bit more free because I have income that I'm like, you know what? Well, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's just like I really, really like being in my mid to late 20s. I'm enjoying it.
Like the freedom.
Yeah.
You're not figuring out every single little thing.
Yeah. And like
figured out enough to like have a life.
Yeah. And like, am I the richest person? Absolutely not. I could be making way more money if I actually like,
just resigned yourself to
the 9 to 5. Yeah. But I don't really want to do that right now, at least for like these few months. I'm definitely going to have to do it at some point. But like right now I have like, I don't know. It's just really good. I'm glad that I've made decisions that I have, that I was able to get to this point in my life where I can enjoy my 20s.
Some people don't get there.
Yeah.
30s is the new 20. It's okay.
Yeah, dude. Like
Honestly,
people in their 30s and stuff who are just like enjoying their life, like they're in their 20s, but in like a responsible way.
Right.
And I'm just like, that's so cool that now we're getting to the point, I think, where at least as a society, we're like, yeah, your 20s are good, but your 30s are really great. Like, yeah. And so I think that's cool too.
Like, I think the last few years.
Yeah, I feel like that was not the case when I was in high school. People were really like, oh, you're 20s. Afraid. And then you get to be 30 and all of a sudden everything goes downhill for some reason. I don't know, especially with women. I think it's one of those things where it's like, well, you're aging.
Yeah, if you haven't gotten pregnant or a mom yet.
Or you're not married or whatever the case may be. And it's like, I don't think that's true. Like, I don't know. But I don't know about, I can't speak for men. I'm not a man. But like, for women at least, I think it's the aging thing. But I'm like, but I feel better now physically than I did when I was 20. Like, I feel better. I feel like I appreciate my body more, what my body does for me, like more now than I did when I was like 19 or 20. Like, I don't know, like it's, and you look at, not that celebrities are like picture perfect, but you look at also celebrities and you're like, man, she gets better with age. Like, she looks so good. And of course they have money so that they can look better with age, but it's also sometimes where it's just like, they just look like they're, you know, they're doing really, really well. And that's really good for them. Or even people who aren't celebrities that I just know that are in their 30s or 40s. And I'm like, man, they look like they're really having a good time with life. And
that pisses me off, because I just thought about how there's so many social media posts I've seen recently that they're like, when I was a kid, all I could think about was wanting to be an adult. And now that I'm an adult and I have all these responsibilities, all I can think about is wanting to be a kid with no responsibilities. And I'm like, why can't we flip the story on that and say, like, I really, although it sucks, and I'm being very transparent, but I get the idea of like, yes, having responsibilities, especially if it involves other people that you're held accountable to or providing for, like, I get that can be really sucky, and having to make hard decisions, and you know, having to put yourself on a budget, all those things suck. But why can't we kind of change the story and be like, but that's a good thing to grow up, you know? I joke with my mom all the time. She's like, you're grown up now. You can live your own life. And I think a lot of, now that 30s are the new 20, I feel like people dog on their 20s. I'm like, use it to grow and enjoy having responsibility. Like, I know it sucks and it sounds weird to say that, but be in the same place you were in your childhood. We're like, okay, but yeah, responsibility sucks, but you can do X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, like, it's kind of like,
because right now, that's all I've heard recently is how being an adult sucks.
And it is, I understand where people are coming from. Like, having responsibilities can be hard. And like, sometimes you just, like, you don't want to do anything. Like, you just want to come home, you want to sleep, but it's like, you can't, you have other things to do, whatever. Whether you have kids or married or not, it doesn't, you have responsibilities, you have things to do. But like, so I get that. But I also think it's like, you can have responsibilities and also still have fun, like in your 20s and 30s. Like, I think that also sometimes people think that like, maybe another fallacy is that you just kind of have to reimagine, like, well, your life in terms of like, well, I have responsibilities now, so I don't have time for like fun, or I don't have time for things that are like silly like that. And I'm like, that's not true. There's this book I want to read. I don't remember the author's name, but I think it recently came out. It's called The Power of Fun or something like that. I'll have to link it in like the show notes or something. But it's pretty much about how to learn to have fun as an adult. Like, what are the things that you find really fun that you want to do, or like how do you learn how to have fun again? Not as a child, but as an adult, but with the same childlike wonder that comes with having fun. And so I really want to read that, because I think that would be a really interesting thing. But I'll have to link, because I don't remember the author, and I don't even know if that's the like actual title of the book. I just keep seeing it on my social media, like the book people I follow. But yeah, just, I don't know. It's also fun because you can have so much more freedom to do things. Like, whereas you're a child, and like, obviously children are more inclined to be easily entertained, but you kind of rely on other people for the fun. Whereas an adult, like, if I wake up and I want to go do something, I can just go do it. Like, you know, it's like, I don't have to like worry about like, usually, sometimes, a lot of that's not true. A lot of times I do have to worry about how much it costs. But if I can afford it, then I'm like, okay, well then how do I get there? I can drive myself. I can take an Uber. I can do whatever. There's nothing stopping you from doing those things. And I think that's also like super cool. Is like, yeah, you have responsibilities, but you also have a lot more freedom to do things.
Like, it's a scam having to pay for an apartment or a car payment.
Yeah, it's a scam.
Or whatever it is. But I would rather be able to drive myself, live on my own, set my own schedule, and have the responsibility of paying that bill than not.
Yeah, like, it's worth it.
It's worth it. Like, it's the suckiness. Embrace the suck, because the suck is worth it. And I think that's not a message that's not really being conveyed right now. All it is like the doom of what our generation is headed towards. Which I'm just like,
which makes funny memes and TikToks.
It makes funny memes,
and I appreciate them.
We all have a great sense of humor, but I think just to enjoy the growing up. Like, I'm not fully grown up.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep growing up and learning and being a better, hopefully, version of myself.
We'll see. But
I don't think I've done that great this year, but we're gonna see. And actually, I'm curious though. When you were 18, did you know how you wanted your life to look like, how you wanted your life to look like?
I've never been one of those people that's like my 10-year plan, but
LOL.
I never was like
I haven't heard that word in so long.
Obviously, or 5-year plan or whatever. But because I think you get asked that a lot of times in high school. But I don't know. I'm trying to think back when I was 18. Man, I don't know why I was like I don't know. The fact that
a blur to you.
Yeah, a little bit. Like I remember being 18 in college, and I knew exactly what I wanted to major in. I knew I wanted to go to college for the first place. Like I knew that I wanted to go to college. I knew what I wanted to major in. I knew I wanted to be an English lit major. I don't remember if I knew what I wanted to do with that. I think I just was like, I just love writing and reading, and I think it's like just that's all I want to do. Plus it was like one of the only things I was really good at. So I had to like be like, you know what? Let me just choose this. I'm not good at anything else. But I don't remember when I was 18 if I had any like sort of like, oh, when I'm 25, this is how my life is going to look. Like, I don't think I did. I think I was just like, you know what? I could be doing a whole medley of things. I knew I wanted to be working. But I didn't.
Well, because I know you had mentioned like whether it's like working in the city or.
Yeah, I think I kind of. But I think that maybe
for
came
me, I'm
later.
like, I was totally wrong. I went into school for the wrong thing, and then I switched, and I didn't think much past that. But yeah, I don't think we think about it. We don't have those conversations. I wasn't having those conversations with my friends. Because like I said, most of it was like, what school are you going to?
Yeah.
Or are you not? And that's literally it. And I'm like, I mean, most of my acquaintances went to university. But
I do remember that me and Candace, when we were, I don't know if it was when we were 18, maybe it was like our sophomore year of college or junior year. There was a time we both wanted to work for the government, and we thought that was so funny. Actually, it must have been earlier because people in my high school, like teachers would give us grief about it because we were always like, me and Candace were like joined at the hip from 6th grade when we first met all the way through graduation. Like we were together all the time. If one of us was walking the hallway and the other wasn't around, they'd be like, where's Gabby? Where's Candace? Like we were joined at the hip together all the time. The teachers knew us as Candace and Gabby. Like we're never apart. And so it was really funny when we were going into college and Candace wanted to work for the government, a certain branch. I wanted to work for a different branch of the government or organization in the government. And I remember our teachers were like, that's so funny. You guys both want to work for the government, just different agencies. And so I do remember that. That must have been, I didn't think I was that young when I wanted to work for the government. Yeah, I suppose I did. Not really. Candace did for a bit, but not anymore. But yeah, it's just really funny. I don't know why. Now thinking back, I'm like, I guess it was that.
Want to do that?
Well, I guess it was that early that I wanted to work for the government, but I didn't think it was. But it must have been. But yeah. So obviously, like that did not happen, and we're both on different paths than we originally set out to be on. But they're both good. And
yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't know. It's just really funny how you look back and you're like, man, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I thought that. I don't know why I thought that would be good for me to do.
You're like, I really don't see that for myself now.
Yeah.
Looking back on it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I asked it because I was curious, but I didn't think about anything either. So I can't drag you. And
wow.
I wanted to drag you.
I know.
But no, I can't drag you.
I know.
And I went into school for the wrong thing, and then I switched back to music, and I still kind of thought I was making the wrong decision.
It's too late now.
It's too late now.
You already got that degree. Can't return it.
Nope. And like you said, even when you graduate college, give yourself another 4 years, and I bet you won't be where you thought you would be when you graduate college.
It really doubt it.
Has it been 4 years for you? No, it's not yet.
No.
And imagine all the changes you've been through, man.
Yeah, it's not even been that long. Let's see. I graduated in 2018, 19, 20. Oh, wait. 18?
Is it?
18 to 19, 19 to 20, 20 to 21. So it'll be 4 years this year. This May, it'll be 4 years.
Oh, so you've spent as much time out of college than you did in.
Yeah, I suppose I did. And that's weird. Well, yeah, it must be because I spent 3 years at FBCW, so it has to be almost 4 years.
Which is when you graduated.
So this upcoming May, it'll be 4 years since I graduated from Christopher Newport University.
That's so wild.
It is wild.
And it's with whatever stage in life that you're at, whether you're a freshman in high school, hello,
Hey,
you're
freshman
really
in
young.
high school.
If your life out of you, or a senior in high school, or freshman in college, and a senior in college, or fresh out of college, 4 years out of college, you like become totally different people. You're in
Yeah.
totally different places. You know so many people. A big part of who you become is the people you surround yourself with. So always surround yourself with good people. That was from my dear boss in
Boo. Oh.
in our senior speech out of not college, high school. He told us that, and I think it's actually very wise. But you're just gonna meet so many different people and think very much differently. I would be a little bit concerned if you thought exactly the same. After
Yeah.
4 years, I'm like, something's bound to change.
I mean,
You
I
have
remember
real
even
lived experience.
well, that's part of it. Yeah. I remember even like being in college just 4 years, and my viewpoint on a lot of things took like a 180 when I was in college because I was just surrounded by other people. Not that I was like easily influenced, like I could think for myself.
Still think for yourself.
But just I think one, the nature of my major, where a lot of the classes were like thinking for yourself. That was the whole point with like, I mean, any arts and humanities major is very much like, well, what do you think about that, and what do you get out of this, while still having a structured environment to kind of like, guide
get
you
to the end of the class.
Yeah, but so I think it's one, the nature of the major I had, and two, just the people I was surrounded with. Some of them were like really freaking weird. I made a lot of weird friends because once again, being in arts and humanities, you get
some freaky people.
There was this one guy.
That's okay. You get comfy.
He wasn't my major. He was a religious studies major. But he was in my building all the time. Not my building, the arts and humanities building, which I worked and pretty much lived in because that's where all my classes were. And he was in there all the time too. I don't remember his name. I don't even know his name actually. But he would walk around barefoot. Doesn't matter.
Disgusting.
It is. Doesn't matter what time of year it was, what was happening. If it was raining, sunny, snow, doesn't matter. He would walk barefoot everywhere. This religious studies major guy. And I remember I had like maybe like one or two conversations with him. And obviously his viewpoints were very different from most everyone else's. But it's just like people like that you're just surrounded with that. Right. So your viewpoints change, obviously, like because of things like that. Or you get, they might not change, but you see a different side.
Yeah, that you've never seen before.
Yeah. And so I think it's the same thing when you get out of college. You're going to be in the workforce or in the military or something. You're surrounded by a bunch of people that like do not have your same viewpoint probably. And like, that's okay. And your viewpoints might change, it might not. But I think it's pretty impossible to be like the same person that you were when you were in college versus high school versus now.
That's true. Whatever. Like I always mention this, but I was homeschooled. So definitely like the big wide world of George Mason University was quite a shock. And there was a lot of weird people in the music department. But once you have like an open conversation with somebody where you're not just trying to share your viewpoint, but listen, which I think is a skill that a lot of people need to learn. I think you can still learn from a different perspective, and you don't have to agree with everything, but like it'll still be something you store in there in the Rolodex of your mind and be able to pull and apply in different situations. And I think that's why for me college was such a painful but really great growing experience. It's probably the most I've grown. And then I met Gabrielle. Oh my goodness! So that turned out for the worst when that happened. But then post college, like having a job and responsibilities and those things are all, like I said, I think they're all good things. The one thing I wanted to communicate is that although my TL, my FYP, be talking about how much it sucks to be an adult. I want to bring adulthood back to its glory and say, yeah, it can suck, but we can have fun. To the point we have to read books about how to have fun as adults. We're so broken inside that we don't know how to have fun as adults.
I mean, to be fair, it is very stressful time to be an adult. But yes, yeah.
Like, trust me, we know the world's falling apart. Like, we'll blow up in the next week or not. But
I'd be okay with that.
To just have a different perspective that I think we don't talk about, that, okay, you have a car payment, you pay rent, it's a scam, you try to figure out how to scam it back. But at the same time, you're like, okay, but I am working to pay for this so that I can enjoy it and still enjoy it. And then, and don't just live to work. which is what you were we were both complaining about that yesterday.
I think that's the dumbest thing. Sorry, if that's your life, then go ahead with your bad self, but it's not mine. So
and like I wouldn't work myself to the bone to then, if you're ever to the point where you're overworking yourself, you need to like, I don't know, lower your budget or get.
Dude, whatever. But that's a whole nother conversation.
We'll probably have it at some point.
I'm sure I'll look back in 4 years and have completely different opinions.
Also not untrue.
I don't know about completely different, but
we're a few years apart.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be bound to change. When I'm 25, I might be dead.
LOL.
26, might not make it, but I'll probably think a little bit differently.
Don't even think I'm gonna make it to 26 at this point. And that's in like 4 months.
Yeah, that's only not even months away.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday, dude. Hope you have a good birthday. This was a good episode to have right before your birthday week.
Think about that and trying to convince ourselves that adulthood is fun.
Yeah.
You have to share that book with me, dude.
Yeah, I'll have to Google it.
Very, very curious. But yeah, I think those are just some fallacies that we're told in our 20s. Like, 20s is a whole decade. You start this decade typically graduating college, if that's what you chose, or in just the first few years of whatever employment you decided to explore. And you end your 20s approaching the big bad 30, that now is like the glory days, apparently. And you probably will be living somewhere different, have different thoughts about things, would have spent quite a few years paying bills. You're going to have some war scars, and I think you're going to be all the better for it.
You made it sound so fun. That was good. You made it sound...
You're going to feel emotions that are going to suck.
I'm so dead.
You're going to feel betrayed, but you're going to work past that.
Why'd you motion to me?
And you're going to work past that, and you're going to be a stronger human being for it. Okay. Right? I mean, you're already past the midway point, so...
Not yet.
Actually, you are, because you're 25
technically.
Past.
As soon as I turn 25 the next day, I'm technically past them.
So, and I'm okay with that. It's okay. I want it to be a little bit encouraging because I feel, considering how we both are, we can be not that.
What?
Like, positive in this podcast.
I feel...
We like to drag, like, everything, everyone, and each other.
You drag me.
No, it's pretty equal. It's pretty equal. So I was just trying to lift everybody up right now.
Okay.
Through the airwaves.
You did really great.
And be like, it's okay. These are all lies. Don't let society or whoever, your parents, your friends, don't lie to yourself. Don't scam yourself. You're getting scammed enough every day.
That's true. Yeah. I feel like you...
Wisdom from above.
You encourage the people.
Don't you feel better about yourself, dude?
Yeah, I do.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
I think you had a little moment where you realized, okay, I like how I be.
I've always liked where I am and how I be, but
not to the point where you're like, I would rather be back there.
I've never said that.
To this point, thankfully, and I hope I will never get to the point where I'll be like, I wish I was me 4 years ago.
I do think it's funny looking back as looking back at myself when I was like 15 and being like. Looking at what I was stressed out at 15 and being like, dang, dude. Like, there's literally no reason to be stressed about that. I think everyone does that.
The beginnings of some wrinkles on that.
Yeah, I think everyone does that, though. They look back at what they were stressed about at 15 or what they were complaining about, and they're like, man, dude, like, you had it so good and you didn't even know. Like, you had it really good.
Really, really good.
Really, really good. Really, really, really good. Yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, I feel like everyone does that, though, so that's not saying much. But, no, I like being in my 20s. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. That's what
you can like being in your 20s. You cannot be scared of 30
and still be a child.
And maybe we're the lucky ones. Maybe when we get to 30, the new 30 will be 40.
I don't.
That would just follow us to the end of
our lives.
I
can't wrap my head around 30 right now. But
can you not?
No, I can't. I cannot. I cannot wrap my mind.
Wait,
around
can you actually
30.
not really?
No. What do you mean?
Can you you're like 4 years away?
Yeah, that's like a whole nother college life.
Oh, okay.
We're kind of a long college.
Okay. But I'm like, I don't know. I'm like,
some people can't wrap my mind around being 30.
Well, actually, that's a
you know
lie.
how much can happen in 4 years? I can barely wrap my mind around this past year and all the past
changes.
The past
6 months.
Yeah, dude, the past 6 months and all the changes that have happened. Let alone like 4 years of changes. Stuff. 4 years. 4 years. You know how much could happen in 4 years? You know how much could happen in a day?
overloaded.
That's what I'm just trying to say. You're like, well, you can't wrap your head around being 30. I'm like, no, I can't wrap my mind around being 30.
People be thinking about this like
I don't.
The whole time they're 20.
I'm also not a planner, so maybe that's why.
I don't think it's even a planner thing. I think people are so scared. But maybe now that 30 is the new 20, they're like, we're not even going to acknowledge that we have a 3 at the beginning of our age.
I just, yeah.
Denial.
I can't even think about that.
Well, here's the thing. I can't imagine you 30 either. You're going to be 30 and be like,
exactly the same.
Happy 25.
No, I'll just be like, no, all right, another year. That's all right.
Dude, we're getting so old. It's like what your dad texted me.
Hope not. Oh, when he texted you happy birthday?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, no, don't say that.
Yeah?
Don't say that.
Yeah.
I'm at the point where I don't want to hear happy birthday anymore. I'm like, don't give me nothing.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know. I'm just like, whatever. At this point, it's like another year comes and goes. I still have to pay bills.
What I'm trying to end
I know.
I'm trying to end on a good note. And you're like, oh, can't picture myself 30.
I can't. Can you picture yourself 27? 27.
I can picture. I can picture myself 27.
Really? That's so strange.
More than 30. I'm sure, but I'm like 7 years away from 30.
Like literally.
So I think it's more acceptable. I'll think about 30 when I'm your age.
I don't think about being 30 at this age at all. I just need to get to April, have that birthday. It's hard every year. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around being another year older. I spend my whole birthday just being like, wow, dang, like now
That's funny because I spend the first 6 months of me and my new age thinking I'm the age before.
Well, I think a lot of people do that.
Okay, I'm not.
That you're like, I'm 25. I mean 26, and people are like, how? Okay, and you're like, no, I just had a birthday. I'm so sorry, but but yeah, it's like when you write the year, like it's Happy New Year, and you write 2021. Yeah, like, it's the same thing. And after a few weeks, you're like, okay, I know it's 2022, but yeah, I can't even. Like I said, I spent my whole birthday just being like, wow, I am X amount of.
It's okay. Age is just a number.
Tell that to
it's just a number.
My life. Anyway,
to needing insurance, age is just a number.
That's
what you should reply.
That's the thing, dude.
Age is just a number, everyone.
I'd be like, just
as we try to go to the dentist, as I rolled off my mom's vision and dental insurance, I should just reply, age is just a number, y'all. Okay? Get with the times.
My insurance is still good because age doesn't mean anything.
Like, this is all a false reality. But like I said, let's keep it positive.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm like scared to let you do the outro because
I'm good.
I'm okay.
I
can't wrap my.
You're the one who was like, you can't wrap your mind around being 30. I'm like, no, can you? Like, what?
But I'm not that close.
When you were 18, could you wrap your mind around being 22? Because I definitely could not. Could you?
Yeah.
Really? That's wild, dude.
For me, the age I couldn't wrap myself around is the one that I'm in right now.
I can't wrap myself around being any age. When I was 15, I was like, 16? What? Like, no, I could never wrap my mind around that.
It's good to learn these things about you.
It gives me an existential crisis. I don't like it. It's too much, dude. I think way too hard about it.
I think for me, the reason I'm the way I am is because I'm constantly like, I want a turbo button on like my life, and I'm like, let me just go to the next stage. So I'm constantly like visualizing and like I want to get there. Now I've reached the age where I'm like, wait, pause, slow down. So maybe I'll join you with not understanding.
I just
numbers.
think I
But up until this point, I've been like, just get it over with.
I just think I take one simple idea and I think way too deeply about it, and it I can see occupies my mind.
Spiraling downwards.
Not even spiraling. It just occupies my mind for like way longer than it probably should. I don't know.
That's okay.
That's probably why I'm a writer and I write about things.
Honestly, I was about to say that. That's why you're just reading all day.
Because I just can't wrap my mind around things, so I just write about them or try to drown them out by reading or watching movies. But anyway, no, I can't wrap my mind around being 30. That's all I have to say. Okay.
And whatever days you're living in right now, those are your glory days.
Make it your glory days, yeah.
And you will live a much happier life than what everybody be telling me nowadays. People always got something to say. Ask yourself first. Then ask 1 or 2 trusted individuals.
There you go.
That's all you need.
It's a secret to life. Is it? I don't know. But that's Millie's secret to life. In her wise old age of almost 23. Right? 23? I'm right.
Unfortunately, she is.
All right. Well, that's all I got.
Up the energy, dude.
That's all I got.
Up the energy. Okay. Outro.
Okay.
Fallacy of your 20s. That doesn't sound like you at all. Wow.
I'm gonna do the outro now. Okay. That's
And
I'll do my polite voice like when I answer the phone.
Scary.
So if you guys could follow us on Change by Degrees, Instagram at _Change by Degrees, that would be really great. And if you want to, you can review us on Apple Podcasts. And
if you want, no, you are going.
Oh, you're going to.
Let's be a little bit
I
more
was doing
forceful.
my polite phone voice. We will see you next week.
Oh, do you know what's next week?
No.
If we do that next week?
No.
Historical figures.
Oh, fun.
/ long form poem. So it's one or the other. We don't know what we meant by that. But you see, there's a whole... The camera's still on, actually. We're really lucky.
That's very shocking.
Very shocking. And that is what episode... Oh, we're like an episode behind. Because True Crime was just one. So... The next one should be either historical figure or long form poem.
Stay tuned for
Maybe
that.
Those are always post on Instagram. We've yet to take a picture.
We'll take one right now.
At some point.
Anyway. All right. That's all we got.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
And we're going to be nice and say bye nicely and not scream. End the episode screaming. So I'm just going to say... You go.
Okay.
Why did you go first?
Bye.
Yes, bye.
Bye.
I hate you.
Okay.